Guys, something happened this weekend that it's gonna be good for business. It's gonna be bad for my health. Um, I have been doing a stay off of Twitter situation, quite honestly, because what for? Number one. Number two, I'm already pretty aware of how stupid I am. I don't need as many reminders as I now receive without being balanced out by the occasional attaboy. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like this is good for me at this point in time. So I stay away. And people keep me hip to what's going on. Ryan keeps me hip to what's going on. My friends, sometimes keep me hip to what's going on, right? But then also I pop in every now and then, right? Just kind of jump in, see a little bit of what's going on, get a taste of the action. I need to be aware of what the discussion is. Now, of course, much of that discussion is the discussion of the bots, but y'all stupid asses be over there talking to them. So, I can find out what some of y'all be thinking too. Anyway, Friday night, Cleveland Browns played a preseason game, and Shedeur Sanders threw, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 touchdown passes in that game?
That's correct. 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. I saw some clips of it. I did not see the full game because preseason. 2 touchdowns. I did see the numbers. It was 6 yards per attempt, which is utterly unnoteworthy, but preseason games are weird, right? To say that you only had 6 yards an attempt in a preseason game doesn't necessarily mean that you played poorly. But the other part of it is throwing 2 touchdowns in a preseason game doesn't necessarily mean that you played well. There is very little that regular people can take from watching a preseason game. Now, if you are a film eater, you'll be able to do that. If you're somebody in the league or whatever, you'll probably be able to make something out of it. Otherwise, preseason games are for everybody's favorite confirmation bias. I think we can all safely agree upon that, right? If you think somebody is good and they play well in a preseason game, boom, you have a measure of verification. If you think somebody is going to be bad and they played well in a preseason game, it's only a preseason game. And the converse also holds up. Shadur Sanders got the start. Ryan, I did not realize that there was a discussion around him prior to the start from people who are Shadur Sanders supporters who felt as though he was being set up to fail by being asked to start this preseason game. I did not know that this was a thing. I see that I know Robert Griffin was one person who said it, and I don't want to extrapolate that he's everybody, but I did not get the feeling that he was alone in the expression of this sentiment.
No, there is definitely a corner of the internet, whether it's bots or real people, that were saying that Shedeur was being set up to fail because he had never gotten any reps the first team offense, going out there with a lot of second team receivers, and then again, playing in this preseason.
So he would have been better suited for success playing with third and fourth teamers?
I didn't say the argument was
okay, strong. No, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out what would have worked for you under those circumstances if that's the way you see it, because it's not like I don't understand. I see there's a kernel of logic in that. But what I'm saying there is you would probably go find a way to be mad regardless of how it goes. Man, he can't be out here throwing with those guys. They too good. Oh, well, he didn't actually get to work with them. Oh, okay. I think it would be relieving. Let me tell you something. I don't know if football is anything like my business, but man, when you work with bums and then you be out there working with people that's good, when you get out there working with people that's good, man, that shit like you put on a new pair of socks. Like, damn, you don't say to yourself, I can't walk in these. I don't know what this good feeling is like. No, that's not how that works, right? But anyway, Shedeur got out there. He did what he did. Again, I don't feel qualified to give an evaluation on it. I'm not inclined to do it. I also am pretty straightforward about this. I come into this believing is not the right word. I am skeptical of how good he can be in the NFL. I think there is data that indicates that he is not an NFL quarterback. I also think that we've seen enough to indicate that he, vis-a-vis some of his now peers, He may not be good enough to play in the NFL, but being good enough to play in the NFL and being good enough to be on an NFL team, those are two different things when we talk about quarterback. I think we all agree. There are 96 quarterbacks in the NFL. There are not 96 quarterbacks in the world who are good enough to play NFL football, right? The Browns got 5 quarterbacks that ain't good enough to play NFL football. One of them, Deshaun Watson, his old nasty ass ain't going to play this year. Joe Flacco, I don't think Joe Flacco went to high school with me, but he could have, right? Dylan Gabriel, who nobody thought was going to go in the 3rd round. Kenny Pickett, who is already a journeyman. And let me just make sure I get this part right about Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is a journeyman. My computer went slow trying to look it up. They ain't even want to know. How my man a journeyman already? And he got drafted in 2022. He is a journeyman in year 4. Just throwing it out there. So that's who we got. Watson, Sanders, Pickett, Flacco, and Dylan Gabriel. Everybody is going to get a chance to start this year because I don't think any of them are good enough to play. That's my read on this situation, right? All of them are probably going to get a chance to play, though I guess one of them will probably get cut going into the season, but they'll probably just put one of them boys on the practice squad and then roll all in that's out. Anyway, I've been rambling a little bit. I'm talking in circles. I just want to get to the point that for me personally is important, which is, could y'all please not lose y'all's minds about this? Can you? Can you? And what made me realize I needed to talk to you and ask very kindly that y'all not lose y'all's minds is that Shadur Sanders threw 2 touchdown passes in an NFL preseason game. It ain't even the last preseason game. You know, the one where they halfway pretend like it's football? I don't even think it was that game, baby. Nike put out an ad behind Shedeur Sanders. And the ad said, let me make sure I want to make sure I get the words exactly right. Okay? The ad said, only a matter of time. And it was a picture of this 5th round pick doing the thing with his watch. I hate to be this guy, Ryan, but he doing it with the wrong arm. It looked like he wear his watch on the wrong arm.
That's always something you could have pointed out.
It's on his right. I'm just saying. It's just saying it's on his right arm. That ain't the arm you put a watch on. It's not. Where your daddy at? Right? Y'all like, you're spending all this goddamn money on these watches and you ain't even wearing it right. Right? He be having the hardest time trying to wind that bitch because the thing go on the wrong way. Anyway, when I was a kid, you could be all kinds of criminals and anything else, and Nike would ride with you just as long as you were still actually good at what you did. Now Nike don't even really care about what you did. Like, Nike is not just do it or look at what you just did. Nike doing ads for, hold up, we're going to get there in a minute. Just you wait. Just you wait. That's what I just realized. Has the plot been lost this badly on everything? Where a dude throwing a couple touchdown passes in a preseason game, a dude that's not even a starter. How you getting Nike ads and you're not even a starter? And it's not his fault. I want to be very clear about this. It's not his fault. I get the feeling that Shadur Sanders is trying to do everything he possibly can correctly at this point. I don't know if he realizes that they handled the draft process badly, but I do believe that the way he's handled things since has been different. I thought the clip of him running into Tony Grossi, who's a media guy up there in Cleveland, talking about how Tony never has anything positive to say about him. I thought that was a great look for Shadur because he handled it in good spirits, right? Like, he wasn't angry about it or whatever. He was just like, come on, Tony, come on, man, what I got to do? I thought he handled all of those things really, really well, right? But nothing was proven from that game. I was talking to one friend of the show who I know is listening, and I'm not going to name him just because he and I talked about it, and I don't want to relitigate our conversation on here. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's appropriate. But the point that he made was those 2 touchdown passes proved that Shedeur could play in the NFL. And I'm like, see, there we go. There goes the confirmation bias. That's it right there, right? Like, no. Throwing 2 touchdown passes in the preseason game has never proved that. A whole lot of guys are throwing two touchdown passes in the preseason game and then wound up going to be the Orchid Man. Like, that's not an uncommon thing to go down. No. We're not proving anything. But what it did was entrench the people who still believe that Shadur Sanders has been a victim of collusion by the man. Still believe this, right? I don't know what'll disprove it. I also know this. I have seen a comparison. I talked to one of my guys that works in Cleveland doing media there, and the comparison that they're making up there to the surrounding cult of Shedeur is to Tim Tebow. And I want to be clear about something. If Shadur Sanders were to play in the NFL this season, I do not think that he would be the worst quarterback that I have ever seen. And that's why you can't compare him to Tim Tebow, because that is the worst quarterback that I have ever seen play NFL football. You see my face? Well, I mean, some of y'all are listening. You hear my face? Do I sound like I'm joking? Does this sound like hyperbole? It's the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Don't do that to Shedeur. He didn't earn that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get why you might be worried, but no. It ain't gonna be that. And look, I understand that Shedeur prays a lot. At least I believe he prays a lot. His daddy talk about praying all the time, right? I don't know if anybody has ever been as prayed up as Tim Tebow was for that run. Ever. I don't. That was wild. I ain't never seen somebody stink for as long as he was stink. And then just need to be good for 2 minutes. And then he make it work, right? And then they had that game against Pittsburgh, right? Wow. I'm bringing that up because that was a really, really miserable couple of months to go to work. It really was. It stunk. I'm just telling you right now. I ain't never heard people say more illogical shit in my life as I did during that run of Tebow Mania. And a big part of it was people really thought that like this was entirely powered by Jesus. Now, I don't know why it was that Jesus was always running late. Jesus always struck me as being punctual, right? And I don't go to church like that. So, I mean, I don't want to pretend like I know everything about Jesus, right? Maybe people say it all the time, Jesus, culturally speaking, we believe that some people run late, and many people who believe in facts believe that Jesus belongs to some culture. Therefore, maybe that was your extension. I have no idea. I just always figured Jesus would be on time. Except Jesus was always running late, always in a hurry. Damn, get to the end. Like, damn, I said, nah, my bad. Damn, whew, made it just in time, right? I don't think Shedeur Sanders can possibly pray enough. I think you have to be a preacher's kid to pray enough to be able to have the sort of, not luck, good fortune. He was blessed and favored. I think that's what they be saying. That Tim Tebow had at the end. Don't insult Shedeur Sanders like that, and don't assume that his life is quite as charmed. There's a lot going on there that can never happen again. All right, that's all I'm saying. There's a lot that happened that can never happen again. I'm gonna just tell you this: I ain't really trying to argue with y'all about him until this actually turns real. Like when it actually turns real and he gets to play, we'll see. And if he doesn't get to start to begin the year, which I still think is in the cards, but if he doesn't start to begin the year and you're a Shedeur person, don't sweat it. He's going to get his chance to play. Everybody's going to have their chance to be right with this collection of quarterbacks. You're going to see it. Save your energy. You can't already be fighting like this in August. You're going to be out of breath by week 2 if this is what you're doing. Pace yourself. Wait till he gets there. My guess is if they have their druthers, it's going to go Kenny Pickett to Joe Flacco to Shedeur Sanders to Dylan Gabriel. That's going to be my guess on what the order is and how they go. That's and I have my logic for it. Kenny Pickett, because if it doesn't work for him now, you need to go ahead and cut him. You're not really betting on the future there. Joe Flacco there because, I mean, come on now. We know this is preposterous. But he's the one that the people will be calling for because Browns fans feel like they've seen success with him. So then you put him in next. The highest levels of management clearly feel good about Dylan Gabriel because they took him third. That's why you save him to the end, because you give him more time to get ready, and then they throw Shedeur out there because if nothing else, the owner would like to be rid of that hassle, because at every turn, Jimmy Haslam be telling people Shedeur wasn't his pick. To be fair to Jimmy Haslam, I think the reason why he does that is because, as far as we know, he himself has made 2 selections of quarterbacks as the owner, and one of them was Johnny Manziel, and the other one was Deshaun Watson's old nasty ass. And I just think it's better for everybody involved that you not be Jimmy Haslam's pick, including Shedeur Sanders, right? All the people who are offended by the way that Haslam's like, hey, that wasn't my pick. Shedeur need to be glad, because that's how we would know he was sorry, is if Jimmy Haslam made the decision to take him. Jimmy Haslam didn't take him. That's why we say he might have a chance. But pace yourself. We got plenty of time for y'all silliness as the season progresses. And then once the season gets going, y'all can be silly about it, and there'll be other actual football going, so I won't have to pay attention to y'all. Please, just wait. Do it for your boy.